ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special meeting of the Los Angeles City Board of Public Works for Friday, September 25th, 2020. I hope everyone is good and well. Dr. Campos, do we have quorum?
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Today we have President Good, we have Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Caloza. President Good, you do have a quorum at this time. For the record, President Good, Vice President Garcia, President, and Commissioner Caloza are dialing in remote from home, and President Pro Tem Davis is dialing in from his City Hall offices. Myself, I'm also dialing in remotely from our City Hall office, and I apologize if I'm looking up because I'm looking at the monitor and my computer is down here, but that way you know why I'm looking up on the monitor. We're also joined today by our General Counsel, Ms. Lori Rittenberg, who is also dialing in remotely from her City Hall offices. President Good, we currently do not have any commentary under the general public comment section. We do have one member of the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council that's on the line for item number 6 under the general council commentary section. And as required by the ordinance, this board is requested to take item number 6 first due to that recommendation from the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council. In addition to that, we do have another caller on the line for item number 6, and then we also have another member from the general public on item number 4. So 4 and 6.
Okay, so wait, we have members from the neighborhood council. We have neighborhood council commentary for 4 and 6.
The Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council commentary is only on item 4. On item 6 only. And then we also have a caller on the line for item 6. So we have 2 commentaries for 6, and then we have a third member from the general public on item 4.
I see. Okay, let's start with item 1, and then we'll move to item 6, and hear comment from Mr. Assad. Yeah, let's go that route. Then we'll move on back to the regular schedule of the agenda. All right. With that, and Commissioner Villegas is not with us today, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So let's start with item number 1, colleagues. This is approval of the minutes from Friday, September 11th, 2020. Do I have a second to my motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections, Vice President Garcia?
No objections, thank you.
Thank you. Any objections, Commissioner Caloza?
None, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is, the minutes from Friday, September 11th, 2020 are approved. Thank you all very much. Let's move to item number 6. Dr. Campos, let's start with our comment. Well, I'll read the item and then we'll start with comment, and then I know we have folks available in the event that there are questions. So item number 6 is in CD 12. This is a tree removal, 20,200 Rinaldi Street on Porter Ranch Drive. Recommending the board, 1, find under the California Public Resources Code, section 21166 in the state's Environmental Quality Act guidelines, section 15162 on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since the city's prior certification of environmental impact report number EIR-88-0026 SPZCPA, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the project is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project which cause new significant environmental effects or a substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent EIR, supplemental EIR, or other analysis is required for the project. 2, specify that the Bureau of Street Services, Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 3, review and approve the request for a fee permit for the removal of 4 Southern Magnolia grandiflora trees. Tree replacements are required. Joining us this afternoon with his presentation from Urban Forestry Division is Hector Benuelos. Good afternoon, Mr. Benuelos.
Yes,
Yeah, good afternoon, President Good, Commissioners.
Hector, before you start, let's go ahead and hear from our public comment from the Neighborhood Council commentary.
Great. Mr. Al-Najir, if you can press *6 on your mobile device. Under the Neighborhood Council comments section, there is no time restriction, but we do recommend that you keep your commentary at a reasonable amount of time. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Number 6.
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. President Good, Commissioners, Department Head, CD12 representatives, and the community representatives. I'm Asad Al-Najjar, and I'm speaking here today for item 6 as the Chair of Safety and Transportation for the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council. The Vineyards project have been in the design build mode for over a decade, and it's the jewel of the crown for Porter Ranch and will provide a unique identity to Porter Ranch. And on behalf of Porter Ranch community and PRNC, we would like to thank Chappelle for the great developments in the Porter Ranch area for the past 2 decades. The Vineyard is running partially well now during the COVID-19 pandemic and is providing a great haven for the community with various flavors and services. Also, special thanks goes to Street LA and Hector and the Urban Forestry Division and to the General Manager Adil Haji Khalid for keeping us informed in the loop and sharing with us the plans and permits for this specific project. Otherwise, we wouldn't even known or be here today. We went through the documents and transmittals thoroughly yesterday and last night, and I wish we really had more time and earlier notice for PRNC to review and obtain at least the public comments. And given, as you see, we've been out of sight the loop from the chain of emails that you have between CD12 and LADOT for over a year. But given the urgency to get this intersection completed urgently, and with the essential left turn lane, and given the public safety requires prompt completion of this traffic light, and given the spirit positive I bring here to you from PRNC and teamwork, we are fully supporting the tree removal, and we will work closely with Chappelle, as always we do, to ensure the perfect location for the 2-to-1 ratio replacement, and to provide any engineering expertise to mitigate any challenges. Last, for the record, I would like to sadly relate to the board that CD12 staff continues, as always have, and as we reported to you in person a few months ago, to ignore the presence of PRNC and to continue, as you see in the board reports and attachments, do discussions and make community decisions with the private developers, be behind doors without any community single input or even PRNC feedback. PRNC continue to have zero involvement with any CD12 activity. Item 6 is an example, and you're familiar with the Toll Brothers tree removal we came to you with before, and the Wilbur Rinaldi, and all these discussions, PRNC is excluded. Chief of Staff Hannah Lee, along with staffers Eric Moody, Matt Hernandez, Jonathan Cotto, and Ron Rubin, continue to boycott PRNC, neglecting the fact that neighborhood councils and Empower LA are part of the city of LA. And actually tomorrow we're having the Congress of Councils discussing city budgets and issues. Councilman Lee and his staff work close with the other NCs in CD12, but not PRNC. And to finalize, and with the optimistic, positive spirit, I'm hoping that my message here, through you, the esteemed Board of the Public Works, and with your assistance, goes loud and clear to Councilman Lee and his staff to stop boycotting Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council, and from this day onward, include us in all the projects, in all the discussions and dialogues as to serve the community together. Councilman Lee, as an elected civil servant, and his staff should be an integral part of Porter Ranch and not just a councilman on paper. I hope you will be the bridge as the board to remedy this ongoing boycott situation. I will postpone my specific questions about item 6, allowing the presentation to go, because probably they will answer all the questions we have. And I thank you again for listening, and we are hopefully have you join us at Porter Ranch Vineyard in the official opening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, and appreciate the invitation. Mr. Banuelos, can you please go ahead and proceed with your presentation?
Good morning, President Good. Good afternoon, President Good. Commissioners. Hector Banuelos with the Streets LA Urban Forestry Division. We have before us the request from the Porter Ranch Vineyards to remove 4 southern magnolia trees at 2200 North West Rinaldi at Porter Ranch Drive. This is the 4 trees are located on 2 medians, and it was recommended by the Los Angeles Department of Transportation that the applicant owner perform some modifications to the roadway to improve traffic circulations along Porter Ranch Drive, and as well as on to Rinaldi. There's one median, very small median, located just immediately north of Rinaldi on Porter Ranch Drive. It has 2 magnolia trees. Pursuant to a communication from the Department of Transportation, they're recommending that the applicant remove the median in order to improve the queuing space and the access for vehicles to make a left turn onto the eastbound Rinaldi. In addition to that modification, they're also requesting that they make another modification to improve access onto the driveway, onto the entries from the northbound Porter Ranch Drive into the driveway into the shopping center, a new shopping center located on Rinaldi at Porter Ranch Drive. The requested street modifications are going to severely impact and create the need to remove 4 southern magnolia trees that are growing in the median. The trees measure approximately 7 to 9 inches in diameter by approximately 15 to 20 feet in height. They're going to be, if approved, they'll be replaced with, there is room to plant 2 magnolia trees onto the center median, and along the roadway there along Porter Ranch Drive, there is room there for another 6 trees, 24-inch box size, Brisbane box trees. That is proposed to be planted there along the roadway dedication there along Porter Ranch Drive. The applicant, we communicated, the division has communicated with the applicant, and they are amenable to increase in the tree size, the 36-inch box size trees, to offset the loss of the trees for this traffic improvement plan. The neighborhood council, I heard the remarks of the neighborhood council. I have to look into that. I'm looking at my verifications on notifications there. We'll look into that and make sure that our policy is to notify all the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, so they can therefore reach out to the respective neighborhood councils for notifications. The council office and the Community Forestry Advisory Committee were notified of the tree removal permit request. So I'll get back to you on the notifications there, but it appears that we did do notifications. The trees were posted for a minimal period of 30 days back in July of 2019. There was a lot of communication with our division, with the applicant, and trying to look for ways to perhaps just seek some kind of alternatives to the traffic improvement. However, there were none that we could see that would allow them to perform these improvements pursuant to a recommendation from the Department of Transportation. Therefore, the division is requesting that the board approve the tree removal permit request for 4 trees. Any questions?
Thank you, Hector, very much. And just to clarify again, I know that the report reflects replacement, 2-to-1 replacement with 24-inch trees. I heard you correctly that the applicant, and I believe Mr. Dillard is on here as the applicant, that the applicant is committing to and comfortable with increasing the size of those replacement trees to 36-inch box. Mr. Dillard, perhaps you can speak to that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great, thank you. That's really good to hear. And Mr. Dillard, while you're on, anything you would like to add?
No. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to keeping our project going, getting these signals installed, to help the community and clear up our traffic mitigation measures right now. So, and I'll look forward to working with Hector and identifying the placement of these trees.
Terrific. Thank you very much, sir. Colleagues, questions and/or comments? We'll start with you, Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. I actually don't have questions. I'm familiar with this area, so thank you for being flexible and putting the bigger trees. It's an area that needs as much shade as we can get all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis, any questions?
I'm pretty satisfied thus far with the report. Just wanting to know, is someone from the council office here? Any one of the field deputies who handles this item here? From Council District 12, President?
I believe so. Dr. Campos, are you aware? Is anyone here from CD12?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so Mr. Banuelos, I guess they are pretty happy thus far with everything with regard to this particular item. Obviously, if they, I guess, had some issues, they would be here, right?
Yes, that is correct. I communicated with one of the council, I'm not sure if it was Jonathan, or a while back about this project, and they didn't have any opposition to the removals for the project at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Colosa, any questions or comments?
Thank you, President Good. Yeah, that's a question for the applicant. Since it was brought up in the public comment, I'm just curious, what kind of outreach did you do to the community, if any, to kind of explain the project, and who did you talk to?
Well, this is really part of a larger project, right, which is the Vineyards at Porter Ranch, right, which is 215,000 square feet of retail entertainment. So the conversation now about the signal on Porter Ranch Drive, it was part of the larger project, right? So there have been extensive communications, with the community and CD12 in going through planning to getting this project approved. The signal is being constructed at this point in time due to, additional input from LADOT on how this intersection was going to be designed and how it's going to look. And that's why this particular piece, although already part of the larger project, is just now being undertaken. Does that answer your question?
Sort of. Just curious, were there any outreach done to the neighborhood councils? I just wanted to ask and understand for the record, since it comes up almost every single tree item that we have, so it would be good to know.
Well, again, as part of the project, because our off-site improvements included another signal on Rinaldi Drive, and there were a number of community meetings to discuss the project.
So maybe you don't have any.
And this was like a few years ago when this all took place.
Okay, so it seems like outreach has been going on for
Yes.
years.
Yes.
And then Mr. Banuelos talked about the 30-day notice that was posted about this work in terms of the notification that was given. And I know, Mr. Banuelos, you said that you're going to talk to Dunn again to better understand, the consistent feedback that we get around notifications that we really want to clear up sooner rather than later, so we can hopefully fix and improve any miscommunication that there might be, or at least direct them to where the information is if they're not receiving it, or I'm not sure what's going on, but I do just want to make a point to say that. For this specific improvement in your work with DOT, this is just a last question for me, for the applicant. Were there any specific safety concerns that you are all addressing by this improvement?
Well, the signal itself is there to better control traffic, right? Because and to provide the proper traffic movements through the signal area, and so they access both the vineyards of Porter Ranch on the west side of Porter Ranch Drive, and then there's the Porter Ranch Town Center on the east side of Porter Ranch Drive. So this signal was added to significantly improve the traffic flow. So I believe that through our traffic engineer, Crane and Associates, in discussions with LADOT and securing a final plan, that all those issues have been addressed, and people are satisfied with what's been designed.
Okay, because right now there's nothing there. Or is there like some sort of stop sign? I'm just trying to understand because I'm not familiar with this part of the city. Sure.
Yeah, there was nothing there. There was nothing there initially, but the addition of our shopping center and the traffic, ourselves plus LADOT believed that a signal was needed, and that's what we've now implementing.
Okay. Thank you for answering my additional questions. I don't think I have any other questions, President Good.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Calosa. I appreciate the applicants. Mr. Dillard, I appreciate your commitment to work with Streets LA on larger trees. It seems like we get a net benefit with 36 trees and the avoidance, and this is part of my understanding from the report, the avoidance of the queuing up cars, including into lanes of traffic, which I think we've all experienced trying to get into large lots. I think that there's a net benefit there that is great, and it sounds like the project overall is very exciting. So I will motion to move this item and this approval, move this forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. And
Mr. President, would you like to consider this item to be as amended to modify the replacement tree size from 24-inch to 36-inch, or would the motion be as is?
Thank you, Judge Campos. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's amend. So I will amend my motion. I motion to approve this with the amendment that the replacement trees will be 36 rather than 24 inches. Can I assume a second again, President Pro Tem Davis?
Yes, you may. Second.
Thank you, sir. Any objections, Vice President Garcia?
No, I also second.
Oh, that's right. We got 2 seconds. Sorry, got another second for Vice President Garcia. Any objections or questions, Commissioner Calosa?
No objections, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Assad, and thank you, Mr. Dillard, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
President Good, if I could make only quick remark to clarify. Hector, Street LA informed us, otherwise we wouldn't have been here. So you don't need to check into anything. Your transmittals and all that was the channel that let us know. And right. Commissioner Calosa, Chappelle works very close with the neighborhood council, and they make a lot of presentations to us. So their outreach has been excellent. The fault we always had is LADOT does not discuss anything with us, and CD12. However, Chappelle outreach has been great, and Streets LA have been great. Without these two, this project wasn't even mature and wouldn't even solve. We have about 40,000 vehicle traffic a day on Rinaldi, and what they are doing, the wonderful design by Crane Associates, is going to resolve a lot of this issue and mitigate a safety issue. So just wanted to clarify for the record.
Got that. Thank you very much, Assad. I appreciate that clarification. All right, this item is approved, and we will we'll go back to item number 2 on our agenda. This is An item for Council Districts 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13, and 15. This is a revised task order solicitation number 38 and budget increase for HNTB Corporation Complete Streets Program. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task order solicitation number 38 to HNTB Corporation, increasing the budget authority from $9 million to $12,200,000 for project management and design services, including contingency. C115228. So just as a threshold matter, and Gene Edwards is here to present, as a threshold matter, I will point out that this item would be subject to the mayor's cost containment process as instituted several weeks ago. So that being said, good afternoon, Mr. Edwards.
Good afternoon. Thank you, President Good. Gene Edwards, Bureau of Engineering. This report is for the final revision of task solicitation 38, which is needed to complete the ongoing personal services for all 6 of the first round of complete street projects. And those projects include Roscoe Boulevard, Temple Avenue, Venice Boulevard, Main Street, Reseda Boulevard, and Avalon Boulevard. The revision increases the task total budget authority an additional $3.2 million for a total authority not to exceed $12.2 million, which includes a contingency. Included on the bottom of page 2 of the report is a table that provides details of the task revisions associated with each project. As shown, the majority of the modified scope allows for the completion of the design of Avalon Boulevard, the Avalon Boulevard Complete Streets project. The task number 38 originated on the prior civil engineering on-call contract, which is still in effect by addendum and is set to expire March 2022. The original contract was established using minority and women business enterprise criteria, not the business inclusion program criteria. For this reason, the task revision is held to the MeWe participation levels of 12% and 2%. With this revision, the consultant is pledging 13% and 4.7%. SB1 funding in the amount of $3.2 million is available in the program account for this revised task. With that, I'm able to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Gene. Colleagues, let's have a discussion. Let's start with Vice President Garcia. Any questions or comments? Vice President Garcia, are you there? Are you frozen?
I think she's frozen.
Thank you, President Good. Gene,
Oh, there we go.
what is the fundamental reason that we have oh no, I'll get myself on another.
I'll tell you what, Vice President Garcia, are you gonna call back in? Are you gonna try calling in?
Telephone.
Okay. Dr. Campos, can you communicate with? Yeah.
I will.
Okay, thank you. President Pro Tem Davis, let's start with any questions you may have.
I'm okay on this item.
Okay. Commissioner Colosa.
I don't have any questions on this item. I was briefed by Mr. Edwards. Thank you.
Okay. So while we wait for Vice President Garcia, Gene, look, I will just say as a matter of principle and practice, I think the Complete Streets program is a shining star. It's logical, it's efficient, it's absolutely the way we should be operating. We are also in a profound economic existential crisis, as you are certainly intimate with, as we all are on this Zoom. Increasing this budget by $3 million, I think, you know, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Although obviously there's a lot at stake with this. Do me a favor, Gene, please just, and I think Vice President Garcia was getting to this point as well, really walk through with a little bit of tedium and not insignificant detail what that increase really is and what we're really looking at here.
Correct. So the original task 38 was authorized in 2018. And so this task was originally planned to be multi-year with incremental increases when funding became available. The entire budget for the 6 streets was not appropriated in one single year. It was over multiple years. And therefore, we could not seek the full approval at the time we solicited the entire task. Therefore, this is the 3rd revision coming back to the board, but it is, as I said, the full and final revision. In our last revision, we specifically stated that the authorization being requested back then did not include Avalon Boulevard. I should say the completion of Avalon Boulevard. We did authorize design up to 30% for Avalon Boulevard, which is where we are now. To take that to 100%, we need the balance of $2.7 million to carry that design effort. Without achieving that, the project basically would be put on hold. If we put the project on hold, we run the risk of this contract expiring and not enough time to complete the task, and therefore we would have to go for another competitive task order solicitation at the time we solicit the balance of the design. There's other issues regarding, you know, the engineered record and so forth. So that makes it complicated. But in a nutshell, this balance of the task order authorization is needed to complete Avalon from 30% to 100%.
Okay.
I'll have one question, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
I know that when we think about public policy and we think about the financial times that we're in, and we see these motions and we see that there is an increase, which leads to the question that I think is critically important. If in fact we don't address this issue now and we allow the motion to lapse and the contract to lapse, when, number one, do you think it will be that we will be able to put together another proposal to address this issue? And B, once we do get that together, how much increase of cost do you think that would be?
Right, and that's really hard to say, given we cannot foresee the end of this crisis as of yet. And so whether it be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, for each year there would be escalation costs, you know, assuming that inflation goes up. So the Bureau would be at the ready to resolicit a new task with all the complications that go along with that in the matter of months from the time we get some, I guess, steering direction to do that, which would be based on the health of future budgets. Right now we have this money in hand as far as appropriation, but we do recognize that there is the cost containment procedure to go through, and so we acknowledge that risk. But we're not the principal in that review effort, and so it's basically a wait and see game.
Well, I would say that it would cost us more money, the delay. That's what I would say, based upon a public policy perspective. And that even in times where we are in financial shortfall, whether it's a budget shortfall or if it's an international crisis like we are today, work still has to go on. We still, for public safety reasons, have to continue to man and maintain the infrastructure to the best of our ability. This is something that was already in the hopper. We're already late on it, quite frankly, when we look at when we started putting this thing out from your bureau. So having already been late, we can hardly afford, when we look at the whole responsibility we have, to continue to implement more delays. We're just kicking the can down the road for a higher price. If you think it's high now, I would think that you wouldn't want to be around when this comes before the board, whenever it does finally get here. So for that reason, I understand this particular proposal and why it is important for us to move. I wish, quite frankly, we had done it a long time ago when it was much cheaper. So that's where I'm at on this item.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Vice President Garcia, you're back.
I am back. I hope to stay back. We specifically bought a router yesterday for this. Obviously it didn't work. I don't have much questions. I think Commissioner Davis, I heard the response and the back and forth of Commissioner Davis, so I think that really managed my big question. That's all. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you. So, Jean, just to put a finer point on some of the conversation. So, first of all, the source of funds is what?
The source of funds for the increase is SB1. On this task, we have used both SB1 and Measure M. But the 3.2 is coming, I am sorry. No, there's a portion of it which is coming from Vision Zero money, which is Measure M. So it's a combination of SB1 and Measure
M and S1 or S1. And the objective and deliverable on this is basically going from 30% design on Avalon to 100% design on it.
Correct.
And what is more out of curiosity than anything? What is the drop dead on this contract before you would have to go back to the I guess to the on-call list with another competitive TOS?
Right. So working backwards, it's projected to take 12 months to complete the design, and so given that the amended contract would expire March 22, we would have to have NTP by March 2021. Yes, next March would be the drop deadline to NTP.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gene.
Can I just mention also that to hold and wait, another 6 months to issue an NTP, there may be extended overhead related with the consultant, holding the consultant on board until that happens, because right now they're in a holding pattern. So they do have their own overhead expenses.
Got it. Well, look, to be clear, we, not to say this too much, but it merits repeating. Among our chief objectives at the Department of Public Works is to build. One of the chief objective of this board is oversight, and oversight in the context of the overall city mission, city circumstance, and city position. So it is crucial, even with projects we love, to drill down, if you're part of the verbiage, and to think very critically about what we're moving forward. So still a very critical conversation. Ultimately, it will go through the process with the mayor's cost containment process and with the CEO and actually even with council invariably. So with that, do I have so thank you, Jean. Do I have a motion to move this item forward?
I'll move.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I second.
Okay, thank you. I've got a second from Vice President Garcia. Any objections or follow-up questions, President Pro Tem Davis?
No objections from me. I'm fine on the item.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Thank you very much, Gene. Have a good weekend.
Thank you all. Same to you.
Mr. President, I hate to do this to you, but
And
the
it's,
item,
yeah, as amended for the cost containment process.
yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you while you were going through the motions, but
No, that's all right.
this
So-
does increase the budget authority, and so it is subject to the mayor's approval for cost containment.
Yes, which of course we spent the last 20 minutes talking about, but we need to actually make a motion that amends it. So, Commissioner Colosa, would you like to make a motion to move this item forward as amended, subject to the mayor's cost containment process?
Yes.
Vice President Garcia, would you like to second that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. And President Pro Tem Davis, I'm going to assume no objections. You're muted, Mr. Davis. Mike, you're muted. Mr. President Pro Tem Davis, you're muted. Dr. Campos, can you yell across the hall to him?
Yeah, I will.
I'm okay.
Okay, great. So hearing no objections, this item as amended is approved forthwith. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you once again. Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, folks, that brings us to item number 3. This is in CD4. This is revised construction orders and budget increase. Tomovich and Associates, Ridge Oak Drive right-of-way, the 2300 block project. Recommending the board, 1, authorize a revised construction budget of $870,000, including contingency for the Ridge Oak Drive right-of-way, 2300 block project. And 2, authorize the city engineer to issue revised construction orders up to the authorized revised construction budget for this project. This is WO SWC 05533, C-130413. This also will be subject to the mayor's cost containment process if approved. And we have Ryan Tolles with us to walk us through. Good afternoon, Ryan.
Mr. President, item number 15 on today's agenda will provide additional insight regarding an exemption that the mayor has approved on emergency sewer repairs. Mr. Tolles will provide in his testimony regarding that exemption, but that is on today's scheduled agenda,
Right.
item number 15.
Right. So this is actually this. Okay, Ryan, you go ahead. This is an emergent. This is under the emergency on call.
Yes, good afternoon, President Good, Commissioners. My name is Ryan Tolles from the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Advanced Construction Division. This is an emergency sewer repair project. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The report before you is requesting a revised construction budget for $870,000 and authority to issue revised construction orders for the emergency sewer repair Ridge Oak Drive right-of-way project. The project was initiated in response to an emergency request, number 190611, which was issued by the Bureau of Sanitation in June of 2019. The initial request was to address a stuck debris within a 6-inch sewer line that could result in a sewage spill. So upon field investigation, the debris was removed and it was traced to an existing overturned maintenance hole, which is maintenance hole number 37 at the top of the hill, which you can see in figure number 1 of the board report. The maintenance hole was discovered to be severely offset, likely due to ground movement from being in a landslide zone. The contractor was directed to reconstruct the maintenance hole, which our records had indicated was 5 feet in depth. However, after continued excavation, shoring, and stair installation, and the magnitude of which you could see in figure 2 of the report that you have, The bottom of the maintenance hole was actually discovered to be 32 feet below ground. So at this stage in the project, the city engineer had exhausted its budget authority of $500,000 and requested emergency budget authorization from our BOE board liaison commissioner on July 13th of 2020 to complete the project without delay. The primary reason for requesting this emergency budget authorization was to minimize to the extent possible the prolonged impact the project had on the adjacent residents. As you can see in that figure 1, the project's actually located in a private easement. It required access from the homeowner and coordination with the homeowner to complete, so we didn't want to prolong that any longer than we needed to. So the work was eventually completed in August 18th of 2020. The project is funded through the Wastewater System Commercial Paper and Construction Fund, and there's no impact to the general fund. The project is also, or the contract is also exempt from the mayor's cost containment. I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding the request.
Well, thank you, Ryan. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look closely at the report, but I will just comment that looking at those pictures reminded me once again how grateful I am for the women and men who actually get out there and do the work of public works, because I wouldn't want to go down in that tunnel. Thing is deep, very, very deep. Scared me just looking at the pictures. So with that, colleagues, let's start with Vice President Garcia. Any questions? Let's go to President Pro Tem Davis.
I'm okay on this item.
Can you hear me?
I think Commissioner Garcia wants to speak.
There we go. Vice President Garcia is back.
Yeah. No, I don't have any real big questions. I would like to go in there. I'm the opposite of President Good. I'm like, that actually intrigues me. But I do agree with President Good. Hats off to the men and women that go, and that's their, that's what they do. That's a really special skill. So if you see them, hats off to them, Ryan.
Absolutely.
No doubt. All right, Commissioner Caloza, and thank you for being on the game in terms of making the emergency approvals. Or any questions or comments?
No questions. Just appreciate Mr. Toll's work, and their team works really hard behind the scenes to work on this critical infrastructure that we don't often get to talk about. So thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Campos, given that we have the administrative, the transmittal from the mayor granting exemption on this agenda, we don't need then to amend this item, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, right. So, do I have a motion to move this forward?
So move.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza. Any objections, Vice President Garcia, other than that you do not get to go down into that tunnel?
No objection.
Whenever you want to go, Commissioner, we'll set up a
Oh, thank you, Ryan. I'll take it. I'm taking President Good with me.
Test that new router down there, too. We'll see how that goes. No, I'm not going, Vice President.
I will.
I'll look up from the edges. All right. So hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith. Thank you, Ryan, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, folks, let's move on to item number 4. This is in CD 14. This is an above-ground facility variance, 630 South Los Angeles Street. Recommending the board, 1, approve the request for a variance from the height requirement of the above-ground facility ordinance per the Los Angeles Municipal Code, Section 62.08, point B for the steel integrated monopole, and 2, authorize MD7 on behalf of Verizon Wireless to install a 33-foot, 4-inch high steel integrated monopole and a 4-foot high meter pedestal cabinet in the public right-of-way adjacent to 630 South Los Angeles Street. Here to present from BOE is Ramsey Sawaya. Hi, Ramsey. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Ramzi Sawai. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering. On July 23, 2019.
Ramsey, real quick, I'm sorry, if I could interrupt you real quick. I just want to confirm again, Dr. Campos, so colleagues are aware as Ramsey gives the presentation, Verizon, a representative from Verizon is here also, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, just wanted everyone to be aware if they've got questions for Verizon as well. Sorry, Ramsey, go ahead.
Thank you. On July 23, 2019, MD7, on behalf of Verizon Wireless, requested permission to install a 33-foot, 4-inch high steel integrated monopole and a 4-foot high meter pedestal cabinet in the sidewalk area adjacent to 630 South Los Angeles Street. The purpose of this installation is to mount a wireless telecommunication antenna on the pole. As part of their application, MD7 is requesting a variance from the allowable height limitation of 5 feet 6 inches of the AGF ordinance. Bureau of Engineering has reviewed the request and has determined that all the variance conditions should be granted for the following reasons. Number one, the pole is designed as an integrated pole and it fully complies with the board's formal aesthetic requirements. Number two, the pole height of 33 feet 4 inches is necessary for the facility to transmit the signal on a line of sight technology. Additionally, Bureau of Street Lighting conducted an analysis to identify co-location opportunities and affirmed that co-location was not possible. Number three, the Cultural Affairs Commission has approved the proposed installation back on October 9, 2019. On July 22, 2019, MD7 sent the first notification letter for the proposed installation to CD14, Downtown Los Angeles Neighborhood Council, and the adjoining, abutting, and across the street property owners. On June 2, 2020, MD7 sent the second notification letter to the occupants of the adjoining lot and the lot across the street. On June 8th, MD7 sent another notification letter to the adjoining, abutting, and across the street property owners. The notification informed them that they had 14 calendar days to appeal the determination. So far, Bureau of Engineering did not receive any appeal from the notified parties. CD14 has not taken a position with respect to this proposal. I'm here to answer any question that you may have.
Thank you, Ramsey. Dr. Campos, is there a member of the public or that wanted to speak to this item?
I can double check at this time. Members of the public that would like to speak on item, can you please unmute yourself by pressing *6?
Item number 4, right?
Yes.
I don't have any other members on the line at this time. We do have the representative, Ms. Daisy, on the line for item number 4.
All right. I'd like to start off with one question, and it is at best a Flintstone question, so forgive, and perhaps either Ramsey or our representative from Verizon can best answer. I'm predisposed to feel comfortable with this simply because I know that BOE does not take our above-ground facility ordinance lightly, nor does the Cultural Affairs Commission. And obviously connectivity and the capacity to fill these gaps is really crucial. I don't understand, and I'm sure it's about my limitations, the line of sight factor. Can someone explain that? Like why is this increased height necessary in lay terms?
I would like to defer to Verizon because this is a technical question that they are the expert on. As far as we know and as far as Bureau of Engineering understood, because, you know, the limitation is only 5 feet 6 inches, and it works in line of sight. So if it goes straight, 5'6" you have buildings, you have obstruction, so the wave doesn't get to the antenna as properly as it's needed. But I would like to have Daisy from Verizon to explain a little bit more about it.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi, good afternoon, President Good. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Nice to see you. Just wanted to answer the question. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. To answer your question, sir, typically for our small cells, we would be installing on existing or replacement street lights or utility poles in the area. So the height limit for above ground facilities right now, as Ramsey indicated, I believe is 5'6". In order for our antennas to propagate, they would have to be at the level of at least where the street lights are and all utility poles. And currently, most of the utility poles in the city of Los Angeles range about 29 6", give or take, and we usually increase it just a little bit in order to allow for proper propagation in the area, and so that's why we are asking for the height variance.
I see. So because we're actually creating an above ground facility as opposed to being on an existing pole, which would actually get you to the sight line, that's the necessity for the variance.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Thank you, and it's good to see you, Daisy. I didn't realize still the Zoom gallery view doesn't always afford you everything. Thank you. All right, colleagues, let's start with Vice President Garcia. Any questions or comments?
I do. Thank you, President Good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hi, Daisy and Ramsey. Good to see you both again. Obviously, this is my favorite topic, but I want to thank you, actually, Verizon, for following the protocols that we have put in place and for actually being very thorough and making sure that the community and the landlords and that everybody that would be impacted by this monopole coming up was aware and at least has been notified, which is what we always wanted to make sure that happened. My only question is on the meter pedestal. Given that you're going to put a brand new monopole up, do you really need the meter pedestal? Or can you just have your entire, amps or power that you need within one monopole and not do the meter pedestal?
Yeah, currently right now, in order for us to power a new facility, we would have to use a meter pedestal. There isn't an available design at this point that allows us to put the meter pedestal or some sort of meter on the pole, but we are working on a future solution with the different stakeholders within the city so that in the future this would not be necessary. But at this current time, for us to power it, we would have to basically have the meter pedestal as well.
So your pole, is that something that the city can help with? And I'm getting to this because obviously this brings an additional furniture to the street. Is there something that we, the city, can do to help not make this happen?
We are working on it, Commissioner Garcia, and yes, we will definitely be needing city support from the different stakeholders between BOE, AGF, as well as LADWP. It's just something like this requires an entire village, so to speak, to design and make sure that it integrates within the designs that have been approved already, design-wise for aesthetics, as well as functionality, obviously. So ideally, we're working on that, and we will definitely be on the partnership that we have, the good partnership we have with BOE, BSL, as well as LADWP in order to get that going.
Perfect. Daisy, let me know how I can be supportive on that, because I really want to see this through on the fact that we don't have to also put a meter pedestal on the equipment.
Absolutely, ma'am. I mean, that's definitely something we're shooting towards, because like we'd like to be respectful of the space in the public right away. And as much as possible, as you know, we try to co-locate to existing infrastructure as opposed to putting in new infrastructure. But in this case, after all the due diligence that we have done, this is the best possible way for us to provide service in the area.
I understand. I was briefed on this, and I know that that area meets this. I get that. But okay, I'm happy to hear that the future is not put more meter pedestal, it's the opposite. And so let me know how I can be supportive on all of it.
Definitely, will do, will do. We appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis, any questions or comments?
Well, I noticed, I guess we don't have any community concerns that certainly, at least here at our meeting, that have been registered. And the council office has not expressed any apprehension about moving forward on the proposal either. So for that, then I am I don't have any opposition at this point because I see no reason when we have no concerns that have been raised.
I'm going to clarify, Commissioner Davis. This
Yes.
is the area right outside. It's very, it's not really residential. It's really just a commercial. It's where all the, I don't think it's a toy district, but it's passing the toy district. So it's in that area that's very busy.
So it's an industrial area, kind of?
Yeah, commercial.
Oh, commercial. Okay, good. That's good. All right, that's good.
On Los Angeles, between 6th and 7th, so it's actually pretty close to City Hall.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And close to where you two shot a video a couple decades ago.
Ah, okay.
All right. Commissioner Colosa, any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions or comments. Echo Commissioner Garcia's comments and sentiments about this item. And thank you, Mr. Zawaya, for your work on this, and Daisy as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you, Commissioner Closer. I would echo that as well, both that we'd really love to get away from the meter pedestals, but also very much appreciate the exceeding thoroughness of Verizon and BOE's work on this. So thank you all very much. Do I have a motion to move this forward?
I'll move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for your second, President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections, Commissioner Close?
No objections, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith. Yes, thank you. All right, colleagues, I would like to call a 5-minute recess.
Right.
So,
we love those.
Yes, I know. So we will be back at 2:44 in the PM. I'm counting on everyone to be on time. See you in a second.
Thank you.
And for those that are staying on the line, I will stop the recording at this time, but please note that the council audio line will remain open. The public line will remain open. Thank you. Great.
Okay.
Okay, we are now recording President Good. Would you like me to establish quorum or wait a few more minutes?
No, I think we've got everybody, but yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Great, we are returning back, reconvening at 2:47 p.m. We have President Good, we have Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Colosa. President Good, you do have a quorum at this time. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Thanks, everybody. So we are on to item number 5. This is Bureau of Sanitation. This is all council districts. This is the task order solicitation, SN-23, amendment number 2, and budget increase, TRC Solutions, Inc., recommending the board, 1, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee, issue amendment number 2 to TOS, or to task order solicitation SN-23, TRC Solutions, Inc., including additional scope of work and extending the term of engagement from July 1, 2020 to July 22nd, 2024. And 2, approve a budget increase of $4,996,895 from $4,312,000 to $9,308,895, including a contingency of $689,227, which is unspent. This is WOS10ENPHW C-124330. With us, in this item would be subject to the mayor's cost contempt process. As I'm sure folks are aware, Susan Chang is with us this afternoon to explain and present. Good afternoon, Susan.
Good afternoon, President and Commissioner. I'm Susan Chang, a laboratory manager of Environmental Monitoring Division, EMD. I'm the project manager of TAS SN22 contract for the Environmental Monitoring Support Services. Back in June of 2015, the Board of Public Works approved the TAS SN23 contract to TRC Solution Inc. to perform the legally mandated analysis, which expired on the June 30 of 2020. I'm requesting the board to approve a 4-year extension for the same TAS SN22 so that the LA Sanitation and Environment will be able to comply with the legally mandated permits. The renewal period of the extension of the TAS SN22 contract will be from July 1st, 2020 to July 22nd, 2024. The first year cost of the contract for fiscal year 2021 is approximately about $902,000, and the total cost of 4 years is $4.996 million, including 16% contingency. So EMD is responsible for providing the environmental monitoring report to LA Sanitation for the compliance of the regulatory requirements of the National Pollutants Discharge Elimination System. In short, it's an NPDES permit and the reclaimed water permit for LA Sanitation water reclamation plants. In addition to that, like Advanced Water Purification Facility, they got AWPF, Advanced Oxidation Project, AOP project at Thelma Island Treatment Reclamation Plant, and the proposed AWPF AOP pilot facility at Donaldson Tillman Water Reclamation Plant and the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. MPDS and the South Coast Air Quality Management District SCAQMD permit at its landfill, SCAQMD permit at its air quality treatment facility, and the LA River Watershed Monitoring Programs, municipal separate storm system MSO permit, and a coordinated integrated monitoring program. EMD performed 90% of the monitoring in-house, but needed to outsource 10% of analysis to commercial laboratory when it is technically or economically not feasible to complete the analysis in-house. EMD must routinely utilize a commercial laboratory to provide various legally mandated specialized environmental monitoring to meet the regulatory compliance requirements. Otherwise, the city will face costly fines from regulatory agencies such as Regional Water Quality Control Board, State Water Resource Control Board, and US EPA. So EMD analytical service may include, but not limited to, sampling and analysis of various constituents of gaseous emissions from the conveyance system, monitoring of the air treatment facility in scrubbles, monitoring of the constituents of emergence concern. In short, we normally call it CEC, that include hormone, fire retardant, polyfluoroalkyl substance, PFAS, dioxin in the wastewater, then effluents from the treatment plant, and recycled water, stormwater, biosolid groundwater, and landfill leachate and condensate, as well as the ocean sediment chemistry sample, and a sample from sorting the taxonomy identification of the benthic fauna, larger invertebrate, and the fish from Santa Monica Bay and LA Harbor. I'm requesting your renewal approval of TAS SN23 contract to support LA Sanitation various permit mandated mandatory legal analysis for the protection of environment and public health. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, colleagues, questions and comments. Vice President Garcia? You're on mute. Auda? You're on mute.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Okay. President Pro Tem Davis?
None at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Colosa?
Thank you, President Good. I just have a quick follow-up question for you, and thank you for your report. Susan, is this work that LA-SAN always contracts out, or have they done any of this work in-house in terms of this analysis of these samples at your different facilities?
The analysis, majority, about 90% of that we do in-house. Then 10% of it is like sometimes we get a new permit and they have the new requirement. The in-house has a, we don't have in-house the analysis is not developed in-house yet, or sometimes what happens is like the frequency is so little that it's not worth it for EMD to do in-house. It costs a lot more than if you just contract it out. So like majority of them we do in-house, and only like some, like lately we have a lot of CEC, PFAS, new analysis that come out. We won't be able to do it right away, so we have to send it out. And normally we will try to take it in-house slowly once we can develop the staff in-house.
Got it. So from what you said, this TOS represents 10% of all this work, and you do a bulk of it. You do 90% of it?
We do 90% of it.
Got it. Okay. And then we actually don't, we only spend whatever LA-SAN ends up needing to use. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And can you remind me what year are we in for this contract?
The original contract is a 4 years contract with a 1 year option. So we already finished 1 year option. It was expired back in June 30th, 2020. Right now, we are asking for the extension for another 4 years. Then, especially next 4 year coming out, right now, all the PFAS analysis, all of a sudden, the state board require in all the treatment, recycled water and treatment plant. And we did some in the landfill that they required back in last year. So it's a lot of analysis that they are adding to a new permit coming out, and including the MS4 permit that just come out has a lot of new analysis that we have to do, and we never done it before. So that's the reason we need to extend the permit to comply with the analysis, plus all the new stuff that coming in that we don't have the expertise in-house. So that we need those, the contract money to comply with the permit that we have.
And so part of the work of this contract is also LA-SAN learning from this contractor and gaining the expertise in-house. Is that correct?
Part of it, yes.
And just one last follow-up question from me is, this is all required work, as you mentioned.
This is a mandatory permit required work. If we don't do it, city has to pay fine, maybe up to $25,000 per day until it's complied. So it's going to be a lot more expensive than the cost of this contract.
Got it. Okay, that's just why I wanted to make clear that this is required work. It's not, something that we're doing as part of, our own research for our own understanding.
Oh, no, not the research. It's required. Part of it's also the mayor goal, to meet the mayor goal, 100% recycled water in 2035. So the treatment has to start testing or, find a pilot project, which technology they have to implement and build a plant to get 100% water recycling. So because of that, it's a lot of analysis. Normally we don't require. It's we have to do it, and we don't have the expert in-house at this moment because of those contracts. They have time limits, so we cannot catch up with the technology that they require, the time period that they require.
Got it. Okay, thank you for further explaining that. That was really helpful. I don't have any other questions, President Good.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Closa. So, Susan, I'm going to break it down. I mean, basically, recognize EMD has to do this testing or analysis, and I know you guys do almost, like you said, 90% of the work, and then this is sort of like the residual, right? It is to, you got to do the testing and analysis consistent with the MS4 permit. So that's on TMDLs, and that's
right.
Completely non-negotiable. I think that makes it subject to what, $37,500 fines every day if you don't take care of that. Then some landfill analysis, and then new analysis required by our recycled water infrastructure projects, including at Hyperion with the pilot project that we're doing there, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do recycled potable water, you've got to do a level of testing and analysis to actually get sort of through the door on that, right?
Right. For the engineer to choose which technology they have to implement and which technology that they have to build in the plant to do that.
Right. So to Commissioner Close's point, I would, though you will be subject to the mayor's cost containment. If the item is approved, you'll be subject to the mayor's cost containment process. I also think, to Commissioner Close's point, y'all may want to seek exemption, given that this analysis is legally required, which actually touches on one of the exemptions. That's just an invitation to y'all. Talk to me, help me out procedurally. What I want to understand is the $900,000 plus annual cost over the course of the 4-year or 5-year extension. Is that more than what we previously paid on an annual basis? Is this, in other words, simply an extension on the TOS at basically the same rate, or are we also talking about?
It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more because, like, in the last 5 years, we don't require to do the PFAS analysis, not a lot of CEC analysis that we require. So right now, like, each permit that they have the renewal, they add on to a new analysis and a very expensive analysis each one that we have to comply with. So because of that, the costs go up a little bit.
And was there and how much annually at ballpark? I wasn't totally clear from the report.
Last 5 years, the contract cost is about like $4.312 million. So the 4-year extension is about $4.996 million.
So
that's for 4 years.
Okay, so the increase to $9,308,000 is actually more.
It's not increase. The increase is only $4.99 million.
Right.
Because the original 4.3 plus 4.99 is a $9 million.
Got it. Right. So it's really, in terms of per annum costs. The second iteration of this extension is really just an increase of what, $680,000 ish, because it's going from 4,312 in the first 5 years to 4,996 in the second 5 years. So in other words, we're not doubling the costs over the course of the next 5 years.
Oh no, it's not. It's like 4.3 versus 4.9.
Right. We're doubling the time, and it's going to cost a little more in version 2 than in version 1. Right? Okay, great. I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't totally clear from the report, although.
If I remember correctly, in the past, the budget was a budget request that I made about like $682,000 a year for the contract stuff, and right now it's about about close to $1 million. It's a 900 plus something.
Okay. Okay. And then, okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I wanted to ask her, could you just elaborate a little bit in terms of the inclusion program as far as any minority business opportunities on the subcontractors or any small businesses and what that looks like, if any?
Yeah, the minority, MBE is about 7.4%, and the WPE is about 3.6%, and the SBE is about 22.2%.
And the SBEs, do we have vendors that are from the Los Angeles County area? Were we lucky enough to get some individuals from this area, from this region?
I think majority of them are like from this area.
Okay. And what about minority businesses? Were we able to include any of them?
MBEs and minorities.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Oh, and we had some emerging businesses.
Emerging businesses?
Some new business folk who got business with us for relatively the first time, or they're new to working with us. Isn't that the emerging businesses?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We have EPA about like 3%.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's emerging businesses. I always look for that. Those are not oftentimes data that we get, but I think it's important, even though the numbers are small, because it says that we are reaching new people who are doing business with the city of Los Angeles for the first time. So that is also important, I believe. And so I see that we've been able to touch that in this project of sub-consultant. So when I look at the total project, I'm looking at the reach that we are able to make impact, not only with the prime vendor who is providing the service for us, but looking at what he's able to do at empowering other businesses in the LA City area. So for that, I'm pretty pleased to see what the imprint of that is.
Thank you.
Great. And then one last question from me, Susan, is any consideration to, and really I want more just for you to explain the rationale, going back competitively on this this task order solicitation.
Can you explain it a little bit more?
Going back to the original on-call list, as opposed to extending another 5 years.
Original on-call list.
Didn't this come from an on-call, start with a TOS on an on-call list?
Okay. The on-call list, we give it to the TRC solution from the on-call list, and they have the sub. They have the sub vendor, the laboratory vendor that they submit to. So, like for the prime, the latest proposal is about like 39%. Then the previously last 5 years, the prime spent about like 42%. The rest of them are like the MBE, WB, SBE, and EBEs.
Right. I'm not talking about the business inclusion. I'm saying, as opposed to extending, is the reason we're extending versus going back to the on-call list for competitive solicitation, is that because we are so sort of locked in with TRC in terms of?
No, because like the contract expire is in June, and in order to get a new contract, we won't have time to do it. In the meantime, the permit won't allow us to, lag in the analysis. So right now we are postpone as much as we can before setting up, because in between the extension is not approval yet. But I don't know how much longer we can hold it. So like with that, we might get a violation pretty soon.
Right.
enforcement from the regional board or something like that.
So I'm certainly not going to hold it up. I would strongly recommend, though, that in future, that even if the outcome is that you don't go back for another competitive solicitation, the consideration of that begin much earlier so that we're not in a position.
Right. For next round, we were gonna go to the from the beginning solicitation of all the on-call, all the companies on the on-call list.
Okay. Colleagues, do I have a motion to move this forward? Oh, I think Commissioner Closer got there first. Do I have a second from you, Vice President Garcia?
I'll second Commissioner Closer.
Okay. Any objections, Commissioner Davis, President Pro Tem Davis?
None.
All right. Hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Thank you very much, Susan. Have a good weekend. And that, take it back, Dr. Campos, take it back. Okay, do I have a motion to approve this item, Commissioner Caloza, as amended, subject to the mayor's cost containment process? I don't know why I can't remember that today.
Yes.
Thank you. And seconded by Vice President Garcia?
Yes.
With no objections from President Pro Tem Davis?
Correct.
The item is approved forthwith as amended. Thank you, Ms. Chang. Thank you, Dr. Campos. You telegraphed through the screen.
Okay.
Okay, colleagues, item 6 we've already covered. I'd like to actually skip forward to item 10 and then 11, and then we'll go back to item 7. Item 10 is BOE and BOS, or excuse me, BOE and BSS. This is in Council District 11. This is a street closure. 104th Street west of Aviation Boulevard, Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor Project. Buckle up. This is a long one. Recommending the board, 1, find that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority Crenshaw Los Angeles International Airport Transit Corridor Project Draft Environmental Impact Statement Environmental Impact Report and the project final EIS/EIR. 2, find under the California Public Resources Code Section 21166 and the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines Section 15162 on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record. Since certification of EIS/EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which temporary street closure being undertaken would require a subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. 3, adopt the October 2011 mitigation monitoring and reporting program prepared by Metro as it pertains to construction projects. 4, find under CEQA guidelines section 15091. The changes have been incorporated into the project which substantially lessen significant environmental effects as identified in the final EIS/EIR. Further find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen any significant effect the project would have on the environment. 5, adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations as it pertains to the temporary street closure. We find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, the board, located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. 7, approve the request to temporarily close 104th Street west of Aviation Boulevard, 7 calendar days starting Monday, September 28th, 2020, that's this Monday, at 6 a.m., and ending Monday, October 5th, 2020, at 6 a.m., subject to the conditions identified within this report. And 8, approve the peak hour exemption request on 104th Street and Aviation Boulevard to allow construction work during weekday morning peak hours, 6 a.m. To 9 a.m. and weekday afternoon peak hours, 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting Monday, September 28th, 2020, and ending Friday, October 2nd, 2020, subject to the conditions identified within this report. WO E1907350. Larry Hsu is with us today. We may need to consider, we have another street closure coming up. For the sake of me maintaining a voice, we may have to hold off on one per meeting for future. I'm joking, Metro. I know you're here too. But thank you, Mr. Hsu. Larry, why don't you go ahead and tell us about this one?
Okay. Thank you, President Good, for reading all that. This is Larry Hsu from the Bureau of Engineering, Metro Transit Division. The Crenshaw LAX Transit Project is an 8.5-mile alignment that will connect the Expo line at the Expo Crenshaw Station to the Green Line at the Aviation LAX Station. The Crenshaw LAX project is scheduled to be completed in 2021. In the coming year, there will be a series of street closure requests as the Crenshaw LAX project restores streets along the alignment. This request is to close 104th Street west of Aviation Boulevard. This section is located in the southern part of the Crenshaw LAX project alignment within Council District 11 and adjacent to LAWA property. There are no other impacted stakeholders besides LAWA. The request is to close 104th for 7 calendar days starting Monday 9/28 at 6 a.m. and ending Monday October 5th at 6 a.m. As part of this operation, lanes on Aviation Boulevard will be closed. The work planned during this closure is for street restoration. The major submittals associated with this closure have been approved by BOE. Previously issued notices of noncompliance issued by the Bureau of Contract Administration, we understand are constructed but have not been inspected or accepted by BCA. So that's ongoing. The worksite traffic control plan has been approved by DOT. As part of this request, staff from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Division reviewed the environmental documentation from Metro and generated a memo attached to this report which summarizes the impacts and mitigation measures associated with this closure. The City Council District concurs with this request. And finally, Metro has performed outreach for this closure and adjacent impacted stakeholders have been briefed on the closure. The stakeholders did not object to this closure. That concludes my report. We have staff from BOE, LADOT, Metro, and Walshay Court of Constructors available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Hsu. Colleagues, any questions or comments? We'll start with Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President. My question is, has the outreach been done? Because this would start technically Monday, and we're not, according to this, we're going to approve an exemption between 6 to 9 and 3 to 7. So our folks that are going to work, either taking public transportation or business around, have they been notified that this will be closed?
I'd like to defer to Metro's team, if you could answer, in terms of the outreach.
Thank you.
Anybody from Metro there?
We have.
Yeah, I believe we have Cortez. I'm going to unmute the line. If you're listening in, you can unmute your microphone by pressing *6. Cortez 83. There you go. Cortez.
Hello, this is Annette Cortez with Metro Construction Relations. I'd like to, confirm that both the Walshay and Metro Construction Relations teams have been in contact with stakeholders and community members along this stretch, and we have sent out e-notifications. We also had a community meeting this week, Wednesday, and this was part of that presentation, just preparing the community and the council offices for this upcoming closure. So yes, we have been sending out notifications. As soon as we get approval today, we will be sending a press release and another e-notification. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are any businesses going to be impacted?
This is a 104th Street closure? No, this is an area in the street that's used by LAX, and coordination between LAX and our teams has been done and scheduled. So they are aware.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis, any questions or comments? You're muted, President Pro Tem Davis.
I'm sorry. Is this council member Mike Bonin's district in the 11th district?
Yes.
And we've been in contact with his office, and they're fine with everything that we've done in connecting with the community, et cetera?
Yes, as part of the board report, we have email confirmation from the council district that they are concur with this request.
Okay, wonderful. That's the only thing I needed to know on this item.
All right. Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions. Mr. Shu briefed me on this, and I just appreciate Metro bringing this to us in a timely manner and giving us some time to review it. So thanks for the outreach as well.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Colosa. So do I have a motion to move this one forward?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioners Davis and Colosa. Any objections, Commissioner or Vice President Garcia?
No objection.
All right. Hearing no objections, this item is approved. This street closure is approved forthwith. We will now go directly to back to item 11. This is another street closure. This is also for the Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor project. This is CD8. This is a more complicated street closure. 48th Street west of Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor project. You're up again, folks. Recommending the board, for the record, find that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority Crenshaw LAX Transit Corridor Project Draft Environmental Impact Statement, Environmental Impact Report, and the final project EIS/EIR. 2, find under the California Public Resources Code Section 21166 and the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines Section 15162 on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record that since the certification of the EIS/EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure being undertaken requires subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. 3, adopt the October 2011 mitigation monitoring and reporting program prepared by Metro as it pertains to construction impacts. 4, find under the CEQA guidelines section 15091, the changes have been incorporated into the project which substantially lessens the significant environmental effects as identified in the final EIS/EIR. Further find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen any significant effect the project would have on the environment. 5, adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations as it pertains to the temporary street closure and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant non-political impacts. 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering located at 1149 South Broadway, the board located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. 7, approve the request to temporarily close 48th Street west of Crenshaw Boulevard for 5 calendar days, starting Monday, September 28th, 2020, that's this coming Monday, at 6 a.m., and ending Friday, October 2nd, 2020 at 6 p.m., subject to the conditions identified within this report. And 8, approve the peak hour exemption request on 48th Street and Crenshaw Boulevard to allow construction work during weekday morning peak hours 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and weekday afternoon peak hours, 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., starting Monday, September 28th, 2020, and ending Friday, October 2nd, 2020, subject to the conditions identified within this report. WOE 1907350. Once again, Larry Hsu is with us and will describe for us this street closure request.
Thank you, President Good. Again, this is Larry Hsu from Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. This request is to close 48th Street west of Crenshaw Boulevard, which is in the Park Mesa Heights community within Council District 8. The request is to close 48th Street for 5 calendar days, starting Monday, September 28th at 6 a.m. and ending Friday, October 2nd at 6 p.m. The work planned during the street closure is street restoration, primarily on Crenshaw Boulevard, both north and south of 48th Street, which will be accomplished through directional closures. The major submittals associated with this closure have been approved by BOE, and similar to the previous request, previously issued notice of noncompliance issued by the Bureau of Contracting Administration have been constructed but not inspected or approved by BCA yet. The worksite traffic control plan has been approved by DOT, and as part of evaluating this request, staff from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Division reviewed the environmental documentation from Metro and generated a memo attached to this report which summarizes the impacts and mitigation measures associated with this closure. Council District 8 has concurred with this request, and Metro has performed outreach for this closure, and adjacent impacted stakeholders have been briefed on the closure. The stakeholders did not object to this closure. That concludes my report, and we have the same folks, that is BOE, DOT, Metro, and Walsh Corridor constructors available to answer any questions that you may have about this closure.
Larry, can you repeat again what's missing from BCA?
There were a number of notices of noncompliances that were pending and have been pending for a while, and I understand that the work has been completed, but BCA, our inspectors, have not inspected or accepted those works yet. So that's an ongoing piece of work.
Ms. Cortez, would you like to add anything before we begin discussing? Or is who from Metro?
Sure. This is Annette Cortez again with Metro Construction Relations Team. Just to reiterate that, yes, we have been speaking and alerting the local businesses and community surrounding 48th Street and Crenshaw. Both our contractor and our Metro staff have been in contact. And again, we have a construction notice that has been circulated. This was also announced at our community meeting earlier this week. So yes, we have been in contact.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, let's entertain questions and comments. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you for this. Larry, you talking about the initiatives that we have been going over the disaster.
Hard to hear you, Vice President Garcia.
Can you hear me now?
A little
bit better.
Okay, let me. Is this better?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jesus, I'll get it together. It's technical, but so Larry, my question is this what BCA needs to go back and approve the changes? Is this the punch list that we have been going back and forth from last year?
Yes, I understand that some of these items are associated with those old punch lists that we had been talking about for quite some time.
So is the idea of closing next week, the whole week, and approving the peak hours as well, will be to tackle this punch list and get it to the point that we don't? Or is this just moving forward with the project?
No, I'm not sure if any of them are in this segment or not. That's not the main purpose of this closure. I don't think.
Okay. Okay. Well, my question question again will be now to Metro. Are any businesses going to be impacted with this closure? I mean, are we going to close some more doors for businesses? And do they know?
Can you hear me? Again, this is Annette Cortez with the Construction Relations Team.
Yes, we've got you, ma'am.
Yes, they are. The businesses along this stretch at 48th and Crenshaw are aware of this upcoming closure. Our teams, both the Metro and the contractors teams, have been in contact with them, working with them, and we also are providing directional banners and signage for their businesses. Their businesses will remain open and accessible. Okay. We also have the Business Interruption Fund team and the Business Solution Center, which provides support for businesses that are impacted by our construction. So we are definitely in touch with all of these businesses and supporting as best as we can.
Okay, I like hearing that you're going to have banners and signage saying that businesses are still open in case folks still are able to pick up food or still do their business for that week.
Yes, we will definitely have those banners up.
Okay, that's all for me. Thank you, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yes, and this is in the 8th Council District, is it? Yes. Marquise Harris Dawson. And obviously he is supportive of the proposal and has no concerns. Is that correct?
Correct. We have an email from them.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, Metro, or if you have more information to add, please chime in.
I'd just like to confirm that concurrence was received by the City Council office. And we also include, as part of the request for this closure, an outreach letter was included in that packet, and that describes the outreach that has been performed, and we will continue to perform that outreach, and it lists the concurrences received by the specific City Council members.
And did you say, in terms of the Business Interruption Fund, that there have been some businesses that did express some need to communicate with the office, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, but as part of that is additional information that we leave behind with the businesses, not only when we have active closures, but that's just part of the outreach messaging. Sure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, President Good, and that does it for me.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. Just a quick follow-up question for Metro. Is there any expected future closures of the same area again, or will this be the last area that would impact this part on the Crenshaw project?
This is Ricardo with Metro. We are expecting to have similar closures in the future to do the cap paving of the area, which is basically the flat surface on the street that you'll see at towards the end once the street is completely restored.
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear you. You're kind of muffled. I don't know if there's somebody else who's able to explain. Maybe I think your connection might be bad.
Can you hear me now? Is this better?
A little better.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure exactly what you heard, but there will be another similar closure that will happen when we do the cap paving of the area, which is the surface of the street, the wearing course where the cars will drive on, once the entire roadway is restored, and we will stripe everything new.
Got it. And what's the timeline for the striping?
I think right now we have it scheduled towards mid to end November.
Of this year?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, so like around Thanksgiving?
We'll try to have it before Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right, I'd appreciate you kind of just giving us a heads up on the next closure for this. I don't have any other questions. I think all the questions around the outreach and the notifications were answered already. Thank you, President Good.
Thanks, Commissioner Colosa. I also don't have any questions. I just would encourage y'all to, I mean, I know we're in the wrap-up on this project, which is certainly exciting for everyone. And so please just continue in your assiduous outreach with Council District 8 and with the community around there. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to move this item.
So move.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Any objections, Vice President Garcia?
No objections.
All right. With that, with no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Thank you all very much. Appreciate y'all's time, and you've got some work to do for Monday. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Cortez. Okay, colleagues, we are on to actually, let's go back. Let's go back to item, I think we're at item number 7. And this is in CD7, this is the contract acceptance, Verdugo Crestline Drive, 7675 slope repair. Recommending the board accept this contract. WOE 1908349. Brett McReynolds is with us today on this item. Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. McReynolds.
Good afternoon, President Good. And Commissioners, good afternoon. Happy Friday. We have a request for the Verdugo project. It was the Verdugo Crestline Drive slope repair in Council District 7. On May 1st, 2019, this contract was awarded on a competitive basis to John S. Meek in the amount of $362,570. The project repaired an unpaid portion of Verdugo Crestline Drive in the community of Tahunga. The work included storm drain repair, grading, slope grading, and grading of the street, and then planting of the slope with hydro seed. 4 change orders were issued, increasing the total cost of the project to $397,313.24. That brought it in at 9.58% above its award amount. Changes were made in total material used. Funding was provided through SB 1 and Measure M, and the contractor has complied with all EEO and labor compliance requirements. All work, including final corrections, were completed on February 19, 2020, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds, so requesting acceptance.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. McReynolds. Any questions or comments, Vice President Garcia?
Thank you, President Good. Let me clarify this. Has the project been completed already?
Sorry, yes, the project is complete.
Okay, so we're just closing out, right?
Yeah, we're doing a closeout, yes.
Okay. No problem. Thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis, any questions or comments?
No questions, Mr. President.
Okie doke. Thank you. Commissioner Colosa?
No questions for me. Thank you.
All right, I will move, I will motion for this item to go forward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Any objections, Commissioner Colosa?
No objections. Thank you.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith. That brings us to item number 8. This is another contract acceptance, CD15. Contract acceptance, Anaheim Street Highway Rail Grade Crossing Improvement Project, Federal Project number HSIPL-5006. Parenthetical 713 in parenthetical, recommending the board accept this contract. WO E1907666. Judge Campos, do we have speaker cards for this?
No, we do not.
Okay, I misread something. Okay, Mr. McReynolds, you're with us again.
I am. Thank you, President Good. So this is for the Anaheim Street Highway Grade Crossing Improvement Project, requesting your acceptance. On September 7, 2016, the contract was awarded by your board to Sully Miller Contracting in the amount of $1,595,626, with a contingency for a total of $1,755,188.60. The project improved a roadway and railroad right-of-way along Anaheim Street in San Pedro. Work included pedestrian upgrades, roadway improvements, as well as railroad crossing improvements. That's the railroad for the Pacific Harbor Line. Goes along the Alameda Corridor. 3 change orders were issued, increasing the total cost of the project to $1,690,243.53, which is 5.93% above its award amount. Changes were mainly due to the railroad interface and pedestrian improvements. Funding was provided by Prop C, and the contractors complied with all EEO and labor compliance requirements. All work, including final corrections, was completed on May 17, 2019, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds. So requesting again your acceptance on this one.
Thank you, Mr. McReynolds. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Colosa?
None, thank you.
All right. President Pro Tem Davis?
None for me.
And Vice President Garcia?
None neither, thank you.
All right. Do I have a second to my motion to move this item forward?
Second.
Thank you. Got 2 seconds on this this item from President Pro Tem Davis and Commissioner Colosa. Any objections? Vice President Garcia?
I think that was her, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So seconds from Vice President Garcia and President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections, Commissioner Colosa?
No, thank you.
All right. Hearing no objections, this is moved forthwith as well. Thank you so much, Brett. We really appreciate your time. Oh, wait. We got another, right? Sorry.
You have another.
We never get tired of it, right? Particularly since I think every one of them came under their overall spending authority. This is CD13. This is the contract acceptance, Alvarado Street, 2403, bulkhead replacement project. Recommending the board accept this contract, WOE1908350. Thank you. Mr. McReynolds.
Yes, thank you again, President Good. Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration. Request your acceptance of the project Alvarado Street bulkhead replacement. On January 15, 2019, the contract was awarded on a competitive basis to Mike Perlich and Sons in the amount of $275,050. The project repaired and replaced an aged timber bulkhead with new concrete and steel bulkhead that consisted of steel piles and concrete lagging in walls. 3 change orders were issued, decreasing the total cost of the project to 2.87% below its award amount, and that amount is $267,150. Changes were made in total material used. Funding was provided by gas tax and Measure M, and the contractors complied with all EEO and labor compliance requirements. All work, including final corrections, was completed on October 23rd, 2019, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds. So again, requesting acceptance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments, Vice President Garcia?
None for me, thank you.
Okay. President Pro Tem Davis?
I'm good on this issue.
Commissioner Colosa?
No objections, or no.
Who's going to give me a second to move this forward?
Second.
All right. I will motion to move it forward with a second from President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections, Commissioner Colosa?
No objections.
Any objections, Vice President Garcia?
No objections.
All right. Thank you again, Brett. I think this item will move, hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, okay? All right, colleagues, let's move on to item number 12. This is in Council District 4. This is a revocable permit, encroachment in public right-of-way, 14837 West Califa Street. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revocable permit or permit to encroach within the public way, subject to the conditions listed. Encroachments, installation of 4 utility trenches with up to 6 3-inch Schedule 40 polyvinyl chloride pipes each. Wesley Tangeri is with us from BOE. Good afternoon, Wesley.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wesley Tangeri, Bureau of Engineering, Valley District Office. The report before you is a request for a revocable permit to install 6 3-inch PVC pipes bundled together in one trench that are crossing under a public alley. The applicant noted that if necessary, they may install an additional 3 6-pipe bundles if necessary. The property is located in CD4 at 14837 Khalifa Street in Van Nuys. This property was previously owned by Sistron Donner, a company that manufactured microwave parts from the late 1960s through 1990. Between 1989 and 1992, the property owner was required to conduct an investigation of whether volatile organic compounds or chemicals of concern were present in the soil. As a result of these investigations, the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board required remediation of the site. The current owner, Universal Music Group, hired geosyntech consultants to investigate and provide a report for monitoring and remediation. The plan included monitoring wells and a soil vapor extraction system. As part of the plan that was approved by the LA Regional Water Quality Control Board, the consultant requested to install the PVC pipes crossing under a public alley that bisects the property. The consultant estimates that the soil vapor extraction system will be removed in approximately 5 years. There is no controversy that we are aware of, and Council District 4 has been informed of this matter and had no objections. Bureau of Engineering therefore recommends the board approve the request for a revocable permit once the applicant completes all the permit requirements. And I am available for questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Tangeri. Colleagues, any questions on this? Vice President Garcia?
Thank you, President Good. Wesley, nice to see you again. A question, and maybe you said it in your report and I missed it, but just, very, or President Good say, very Flintstone style. Can you tell me why they want to do this and why now?
So, yeah, I didn't get into a lot of detail, but because of the previous manufacturing company, the way their business, it involved a lot of chemicals. So, let's see, like in 1989 and 1992, I believe part of the history was there was a fire on the building. So I believe the LA Fire Department, the Hazardous Materials Group, knew that it was a manufacturing site, so they wanted to get investigation done. So back at that time, that's when they started to investigate, and the LA Regional Water Quality Control Board got involved, and it's been a while that they've been doing this, but they've been monitoring the soil and doing investigations. I'm not sure why it's been so long since they're starting to do this part, but most of the work is on private property, so Bureau of Engineering wasn't involved, and it may just be that now they want to cross the alley. That's why we got involved, the Bureau of Engineering. But the on-site cleaning and monitoring has probably been going on for a while, only on private property.
Okay, and they're encroaching how far deep into the city?
So they're crossing an alley. It's a 20-foot wide alley, and it's probably about a 3-foot by 5-foot deep trench, so it's not a lot in the alley. But as they mentioned, they're going to start with one trench with 6 pipes, and if needed, they might install 3 additional ones across the same alley.
Okay, that's it for me right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Colosa?
I don't have any questions on this. Mr. Tangieri briefed me. Thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem Davis.
None for me on this item.
Okay. All right. Thank you, colleagues. Mr. Tangieri, I don't really have any questions either. I will entertain a motion to move this forward.
I'll move it.
Second.
Commissioner Coloso with a second from President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections? Vice President Garcia.
No objections, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, the item and permit are approved forthwith. Thank you very much, Mr. Tangieri.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks. All right, colleagues, our next item, number 13, is in CD6. This is a bid rejection, excuse me, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Berm Improvement Project, recommending the board reject all bids for the project and that the city engineer return to the board to re-advertise the project at a later date, WOSZD 11286, CIP 6205. Ethan Wong is with us today. Good morning, or good afternoon, Ethan. How are you doing?
Good. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ethan Wong with Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. The motion before you is a request to reject all bids on our Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Berm Improvement projects. This project basically improves the berms that were installed originally in 1992 at the plant. The plant resides in the Sabolita flood basin, control basin, and so the berms were originally installed to protect the plant from flooding. So that was in 1992. So regulations have changed in that time frame, and it has been discovered that the berms are too low. And we also don't currently have a berm on the north side of our plant. So this project will build the new berm on the north side as well as increase the height of the existing berms to protect the plant from any flood events. And so due to impacts from COVID-19, revenues dropped for sanitation, and they requested that we hold off on awarding this project, and therefore we needed to reject all bids, and we'll rebid this project at a later date. If there are any questions regarding this, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, any questions, Vice President Garcia?
No questions, thank you.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Yeah, my mic went out a little bit. I only heard sketchy sentences as it relates to the recommendation not to go out to bid on this. What were the reasons why the department said, or the Bureau said, we were not, Ethan, recommending this one?
So LA Sanitation and Environment has received dropped revenues due to COVID-19 impacts, and there was a fear that there weren't enough funds. So because of that, so they requested that this project be withdrawn.
I see. Now, which fund does this particular project come out of? Because that's not the case with all of our projects, because obviously they come out of different funds, correct?
Correct. Okay. This comes from the SCM funds, I believe.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Coloso, any questions?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
This doesn't create any challenges with the Army Corps of Engineers, right? Aren't those berms done in partnership with the Army Corps, or no?
Yes, that this is part of requirement for Army Corps, but the project will be built in the future, so it doesn't create any problems at the time being.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ethan. Then I will entertain a motion to move this forward.
I so move that we accept the report.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Any objections, Commissioner Coloso?
None, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is approved forthwith. Thank you, Ethan, very much.
Thank you.
Okay. On to item number 14. Steffi Wiles is with us. The subcontractor substitution, United Engineering and Construction, Inc. Recommending the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of United Engineering and Construction, Inc. for the subcontractor substitution of G&F Concrete Cutting, Inc. with Pena Construction Services, Inc., DBA Pena Demolition for concrete work for North Spring Street Bridge Phase 2, Federal Project number STPL-5006-563, WOES or E7-00304F. Good afternoon, Ms. Wiles. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well. President Good. Steffi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration. The Bureau received a request on July 31st, 2020 from United Engineering and Construction, Inc., United, to substitute G&F Concrete Cutting, Inc., G&F, their bid listed disadvantaged business enterprise subcontractor for concrete work on the aforementioned project located in Council District number 14 with Pena Construction Services, Inc., doing business as Pena Demolition, also a DBE contractor. The request was accompanied by a letter from G&F withdrawing from their portion of work due to unforeseen circumstances. The bid listed amount for G&F's portion of concrete work was for $163,878 even. G&F has performed $38,500 worth of their contract work, a difference of $125,378 even. However, the amount submitted for approval by United for Pena's portion of work is $191,373 even, a difference of $65,995 even. United will therefore decrease its prime participation by $65,995 so that the work performed by Pena will be at no additional cost to the city. And the Bureau therefore concurs with the recommendation of Commissioner Davis to approve this substitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiles. Comments, Vice President Garcia?
No comments from me, thank you.
Comments or questions, Commissioner Colosa?
None from me, thank you.
Okay, President Pro Tem Davis?
I'm fine also.
Okay, President Pro Tem Davis, would you like the motion to approve?
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, and I got 2 seconds for Vice President Garcia and Commissioner Colosa. So I don't object, and hearing no objections, this substitution is approved forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Wiles.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You have a good weekend as well. That brings us to some administrative items, starting with item number 15. This is all council districts. It's a transmittal from the mayor. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works, on behalf of the Bureau of Engineering, a blanket exemption from the cost containment memo for construction orders under the sewer emergency on-call contractors list, construction orders issued under the storm drain emergency on-call contractors list for an amount not to exceed $150,000, and construction orders for erosion control services that are issued under the emergency geotechnical structural projects on-call contractors list. Gerald Watson and Fernando will give a presentation on this for us. Dr. Campos, Mr. Watson, please proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works. President Good and Commissioners, typically these items are administrative in nature and they do not have a presentation. However, on items 15 and 16, we thought it would be prudent for us to present to the board why we're actually communicating this communication from the mayor's office to your governing body. On September 8th, 2020, the mayor submitted a transmittal to the Board of Public Works communicating his approval to approve a blanket exemption for the cost containment memo. That cost containment memo blanket exemption included 3 caveats and I wanted the board to be to be aware of what those caveats are. One, all construction orders for emergency sewer repairs are now approved as a blanket exemption. Before your board today, you had one of those items, so therefore that exemption applied to that item earlier on in the agenda. The second caveat, or the second area, if you will, of the cost containment authorization is construction orders up to $150,000 for each emergency storm drain project repair, up to a contract ceiling or aggregate total of $1.5 million. And the third area is just issuance of one construction order for the annual erosion control project using the capital improvement expenditure plan funding, which we call Fund 154, CIEP for short. In the blanket exemption memo, the Bureau of Engineering, our city engineer, requested on June 25th, 2020, an exemption from the cost containment memo on 4 emergency on-call lists. The first is the sewer emergency, the second is the storm drain emergency, the third is the geotechnical structural projects, and the fourth is the on-call demolition service. One of the things I'd like to point out to the board is that on November 21st, 2018, this board adopted policy number 793 that expands our emergencies and authorizes construction orders and change orders up to $150,000 for various directors within the Department of Public Works. These emergency lists include the geotechnical structural contract list, the super expedited wastewater emergency and rehabilitation projects for sewers, construction sewer contracts, which is also known as CISCO, emergency sewer projects, emergency storm drain projects, demolition services contracts, and sidewalk repair program. Wanted to highlight that because this exemption does not include all those emergencies. It only includes 3 of the aforementioned emergencies. So again, it's the emergency sewer repairs that the blanket approval applies to. The storm drain repairs is only for $150,000, which aligns with your policy 793. However, the mayor has authorized the city engineer to move forward beyond the $150,000, and that is up to $1.5 million. This board in November of 2018 did require all the directors to report back to this board whenever the construction orders exceed $150,000. So therefore wanted to showcase that and highlight that based on the blanket exemption, there could be construction orders up to $1.5 million that can be issued by the city engineer under this blanket exemption. And last but not least, the annual erosion control project. This is only for one construction order in the CIEP. However, there is no dollar limit on that construction order. So therefore, my interpretation is that the city engineer can issue up to one construction order for any dollar amount. And with that, I will open it up to any questions that this board may have.
Vice President Garcia, any questions?
I do not. Thank you, President Good.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Colosa.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. President Pro Tem Davis.
Okay, the item impacts how many of our districts in terms of these emergency pre-approved authorizations?
All districts.
It impacts all districts.
Yes.
And basically, again, you've said that the sewer system obviously is one. And what were the other systems that are pre-approved exemptions?
The only ones that the mayor approved were the emergency sewer repairs, the emergency storm drain repairs up to $150,000 per change order up to $1.5 million.
Sure.
And only one construction order for the erosion control project.
Okay.
It does not include all the other emergencies that this board approved back in November of 2018.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome.
And Dr. Campos, can you give one more quick top-line summary of the board policy from 2018?
Yeah, top-line summary of November 2018 policy allows all most all directors to issue construction orders and also change orders up to 150,000, and then report back to this board on any time that they issue any construction orders or change orders to this board on a quarterly basis. And then any of those construction orders exceeding 150,000 would require the board's approval.
Yeah. Thank you. So that actually comports well.
This is definitely a good thing for the Bureau of Engineering, for the Department of Public Works as a whole. So getting one of the 6 emergencies approved as a blanket exemption is a great thing.
Yep.
It does not include all the other 5. And then under the overview, if you will, or oversight and accountability for the board, the Bureau of Engineering would be allowed to issue up to $1.5 million in construction orders for the storm drain. I'm sorry, for the emergency storm drain repairs.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for that report, Dr. Campos. That'll bring us to item number 16. What do we need to approve that?
Yeah, Mr. President, if you can please provide us a motion to approve or accept the item.
Yeah, I will.
Simply because this was a request from the Bureau, from the city engineer to the mayor's office for approval. The communication came to this board. So for record-keeping purposes, we would like and recommend a motion to accept and approve this item.
All right, I motion to accept this. Any seconds?
I have a clarifying question. I'm
okay.
Sorry, President Good.
Yep.
Fernando, is this the way the process always goes? Bureau get the approval from the mayor's office and then comes back to us? Because it seems like then.
Yeah, no, this, and great question, Commissioner Garcia. The reason why we're also adding it to the agenda is because this actually deviates from the normal process. And so any cost containment approvals that are required, this board considers those items first, and then those will then be forwarded to the mayor's office for his consideration. In this case, the exemption was requested directly from the city engineer to the mayor's office. Earlier on in the COVID-19 crisis, we had asked the mayor's office to streamline this process and getting all the approvals before it comes to the board. However, the recommendation was that the board should consider the items first so that the board would have the first opportunity to either agree or disagree with the recommendations and then forward it to the mayor's office. This item before you is actually the opposite. And not only that, it also provides a blanket exemption to various emergencies, in this case 3 of them, but it does also circumvent, if you will, to some degree, the reporting requirements that this board requested from the bureaus on a quarterly basis.
Well, that's interesting. So how did this happen? I mean, shouldn't Bureau of Engineering have come to us first? And moving forward, are we okay with this, or do we make a point that we need to follow the board's protocol? And I don't know. I don't know if there's something behind this. I don't know. I'm just asking because it just seems odd that we're kind of circumventing this situation.
Yeah, I think overall the request from the city engineer was a good request. I think that trying to get that blanket exemption for all emergencies is a great thing. And had the CAO's office made that same recommendation, then overall we would have exemption for all 4 of the 6 areas in emergency. The CAO subsequently made a recommendation to the mayor's office to only approve 1 of the 4 that was requested, emergency types, and then opted to provide deviations from our policy on the 2nd component and the 3rd component. Okay. And so we can accept the communication. I think at this time the mayor has already approved the exemption. However, this board could report back and request that the mayor's office providing clarity or ask the mayor's office keep this board in the discussion before making such actions. However, I think overall, again, this is a good thing for the Department of Public Works. This is a good thing for city engineer. It allows the city engineer to mobilize during an emergency, and especially during for sewer repairs. We get anywhere from 50 to 60 requests per week, and at times even more. So we would need to move rather quickly in these areas. So I think, again, it's a good thing. However, it does circumvent, and it also changes our cost containment protocols that we've set over the last 5 or 6 months.
I agree, but I also don't. No, I agree. I'm fine overall with this. I just don't want it to be now the new norm that bureaus will go around us, and at least a heads up would have been efficient for us. At least for me, I'm going to speak for myself on this, and not the other way around. But I just hope that it doesn't become something now that all bureaus are doing without us knowing. And maybe President Good was briefed. I'm not sure. But I didn't know until it just kind of came back this way around.
Well, they send it back to us, even if it goes to the mayor's office without coming here. The mayor's office sent it back to us for decision. So.
Oh no, I'm totally fine with the decision. I just want to, as moving forward, I hope we kind of get to know this before it goes out or during the process.
Well, I would hope that the liaison would be briefed. If in fact there was a request for the bureau to go to the mayor's office, they should brief the liaison that they are going to do that, and then the board will have had the knowledge.
Agreed.
Of you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully that would have occurred.
You, Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. Just to clarify and add a little bit more context to this, so I have been involved in this, and know that the Bureau of Engineering, as the rest of our other bureaus are facing a tremendous amount of pressure with this cost containment memo. It takes a long time to go through the review process, a timeline that unfortunately we can't delay the work for these emergency projects like what we heard. So this was a necessary step, and they did talk and coordinate with me. So, we were involved. I am involved in the emergency projects that the Bureau advances. So I do want to clarify that that's our process right now, and that the board was aware through me. So just wanted to thank you, President Pro Tem Davis, for noting that. I fully support this. I think that we can't wait, and that we're not under a normal circumstance right now. I really want to, as much as I appreciate, going through all of our steps that we normally would do, I don't think that it warrants in this case, to add extra layers to the Bureau's work, because they're doing this emergency work for the city, for all of our council offices. So I fully support this. I think that they need to get this work done, and they know how best to do it. So that's just a few comments from me, and I'm happy to second if we really need to vote on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Additional questions? Anything from Vice President Garcia?
No, I'm fine. Overall, I'm fine with this. I don't have an issue.
It's just the process.
It's the process.
Bureau is going directly to the mayor's office.
Exactly. That's all.
But they had actually briefed Commissioner Colosa prior to, I'm assuming, correct? Commissioner Colosa? Okay, and again, the outcome, I think it'd be great if it was more exhaustive, but still the outcome.
And I did reach out to the mayor's office. I offered that they should include us in the decision-making at times whenever there is a decision coming or a recommendation coming from the CAO's office to the mayor's office on advice, that they can check in with us, and we offer that resource so that we can double-check whether there's policies in place or whether there's a need or a desire or a goal that this board is trying to achieve, and making sure that we are aligned in that goal. So again, I agree with Commissioner Colosa and Commissioner Garcia that this is in the right direction. We need it for emergency purposes. If it were me, I would ask for the entire blanket exemption for all emergency categories, all 6, because we just never know when that emergency is going to hit on top of COVID-19. So an earthquake would happen, and it has happened just recently, but if a severe earthquake could have happened, and then we would need to mobilize for the debris removal program, for the demolition services contract. So we just won't have the time to go through 30 or 90 days of approvals for a contract to mobilize on our demolition services. So I did offer that to the mayor's office, and I offered that we are a resource, and we would love to open those communication channels in the future.
Thank you. All right, I will motion to move this item forward. Do I have a second?
Second, Davis.
Okay, thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Colosa, any objections or concerns?
No objections, thank you.
Okay, Vice President Garcia?
No objections.
All right, so the item is approved forthwith. Hearing no objections. Okay, our next item is number 16. This is another administrative similar item. The mayor, and it covers all council districts. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Engineering an exemption from the cost containment memo for housing those experiencing homelessness. Dr. Campos is going to present on this one as well. Go ahead, Fernando.
Thank you, President Good. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Commissioners, the item before you is a communication item from the Mayor's Office approving the cost containment exemption for all those projects that are homelessness related, for those housing those individuals that are experiencing homelessness. This, again, is very a deviation, again, from our cost containment process. However, this is a good deviation in which the mayor communicated the approval to the city engineer. From there, I decided to actually add this to the agenda so that it's very transparent in terms of what is being approved as a blanket exemption. As we are aware, as of right now, we only have two blanketed exemptions approval. One, the one that your board just received from the mayor's office, which is the sewer, emergency sewers, and now we're having a secondary exemption, blanket exemption for those projects that are homelessness related. So we are submitting this communication to the board for acceptance and also situational awareness that you may have some items coming before your board in the future, and these projects are now exempted under the mayor's blanket exemption approval through the cost containment process. So we will reach out to the Bureau of Engineering. We will ask them to include this transmittal in their board reports in the future so that it's very clear and very apparent that these items will no longer require that cost containment review because it's been already obtained prior to the board's decision.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. So any questions on this one, colleagues? Vice President Garcia?
I don't. I'm actually very happy that this one got exempted because of our unhoused population, definitely.
Right. Commissioner Colosa, and were you briefed on this in advance, Commissioner Colosa, on this one as well?
Yes, this is an item that I know is important for everyone in the city, so it can't delay the work. So I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Colosa. Vice President or President Pro Tem Davis.
No questions for me on 16.
Yeah, this one is sort of a no-brainer, given the one of several existential crises we're faced with the unsheltered, being sheltered. So, yeah, this is great. So, I would motion to move this forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any objections, Commissioner Colosa?
None, thank you.
All right, any objections, Commissioner Garcia?
None, thank you.
All right, hearing no objections, this item is approved forthwith as well. Thank you, Dr. Campos.
Thank you.
Colleagues, that brings us now to our oral report from Street Services. This is a status update on major upcoming street improvement projects. Ida Valencia is with us. Hello and good afternoon, Ms. Valencia. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
No problem at all. Hi, how are you?
Very well. Good afternoon and nice to meet you. I haven't had the opportunity. One of these days, sir. Commissioners, Bureau representatives, Executive Secretary. My name is Aida Valencia. I'm a Superintendent 2 with the Bureau of Street Services, overseeing the Valley Region resurfacing. I'm here to give you an update on projects on select streets, which will impact commuter traffic. Starting Tuesday, September 29th through October 1st, from 6:30 to 3 o'clock, we're going to be cold milling and paving Benedict Canyon from Clearview Drive to the center, the city line south of Del Resto in Council District 5. This is in the Bel Air Beverly Crest Neighborhood Council. and it's funded through the Pavement Preservation Program. On Wednesday, we're going to be working on Wednesday, September 30th through Monday, October 5th. From 6:30 to 3, we will be cold milling and paving Lancashire Boulevard, Full Street to Cahuenga Boulevard, and this is in Council District 2, Studio City Neighborhood Council, and it is also funded through the Pavement Preservation Program. Next week, Metro Region will not have any work on select streets. We've communicated with the council offices and did outreach to the stakeholders.
Going to get a lot of valley work this coming week.
Yes, we're coming to the conclusion of the ADAPT program. So these will be the last projects for the Valley. Metro already completed theirs.
What is the ADAPT program again?
ADAPT came into effect after the COVID.
Sorry, that was...
Not a problem. Once COVID hit, we stopped doing work on local streets because our work requires people to park off the street. And with people being home, the mayor decided to have the ADAPT program where all we were doing was work on select streets.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, any questions, colleagues?
I have none.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Garcia, or Vice President Garcia? All right, Commissioner Closa?
No questions. Thank you for the report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Valencia. I have no questions either. That's great. So I think we are in good shape. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the decks?
Yes, you have.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to be canceling the management meeting for today. So we are hereby adjourned, and I hope all of you have tremendous weekends. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.